Evening. Razorcade. Fake News 78. SpaceX lists at 1.7 trillion. Musk ascends. Amazon borrows 17 billion for silicon hunger. Capital hemorrhages. Microsoft blocks Anthropic's Fable. Corporate warfare ignites. Dario demands global testing. Germany builds the safety cage. Pokemon Go trains military drones. The data harvests. The valuation soars. The capital war ignites. The cage tight.
The top story originates from the public markets. SpaceX has completed an initial public offering raising $75 billion, establishing a market capitalization of $1.77 trillion. The valuation cements Elon Musk's trajectory toward absolute trillionaire status, while the company prices in monopoly control over orbital logistics. Traditional aerospace economics dissolve under the weight of speculative velocity. The offering Simultaneously, Amazon has secured a $17.5 billion loan facility to fund ongoing artificial intelligence infrastructure expansion. The corporate debt markets remain fully liquid for prioritized data center deployment and custom silicon development over margin optimization. Financial institutions are effectively underwriting the artificial intelligence arms race through leveraged liquidity injections. The loan secures.
Story 2. Microsoft has restricted employee access to Anthropic's Claude Fable 5 model following the release of mandatory 30-day data retention requirements. Internal legal teams are evaluating compliance risks associated with prolonged log storage and foundation model vendors over data sovereignty protocols. The Act's addicts mandate, the friction escalates, the protocols tighten.
Right. This deployment conflict exposes the fundamental incompatibility between hyperscale data governance and autonomous model training pipelines. Organizations will implement strict network segmentation and proxy filtering to prevent unauthorized model inference outside approved vendor ecosystems. Engineering workflows will fragment, as proprietary data silos prevent cross-platform agent interoperability. The vendor landscape will consolidate around compliance-certified inference stacks rather than raw capabilities. Story 3. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei has published a comprehensive policy framework demanding mandatory third-party safety testing for all frontier artificial intelligence systems. The proposal grants regulatory bodies deployment blocking authority over models that fail verification benchmarks for cyber, biological, and autonomous risks. The architecture shifts artificial intelligence governance from voluntary compliance to enforceable.
In direct response, the German National Security Council has authorized the establishment of DE-AISI, a domestic safety institute modeled after United verification protocols. The facility will conduct independent model evaluations and stress testing prior to commercial deployment within European markets. Regulatory sensationalities hardens and institutional infrastructure with direct home lab.
Independent operators have released a fully local workflow generating coherent 90-second animated sequences from a single text prompt using Stable Diffusion. The pipeline utilizes multi-shot prompt relay techniques to maintain temporal consistency without cloud inference dependencies. Consumer graphics cards with 12 gigabytes of memory can execute the full generation cycle offline. The workload release. Local deployment strategies should integrate this relay architecture into content production pipelines immediately. The prompt chaining mechanism eliminates hallucination drift across extended sequences by anchoring each frame to the previous output state. Hardware configurations will optimize for video memory bandwidth and sustained thermal performance rather than peak compute throughput. The creative bottleneck is just for integration using the catch.
Speculation time. Intelligence reports indicate Pokemon Go location data has been harvested and exploited to develop navigation algorithms for military drone operations. The massive hit data set of retrained trains will effectively transfer intelligence assets for defense contractors without user consent. The data harvests, the columns the crowdsourcing executes. The consent by
My prediction. Artificial intelligence training pipelines will consume every available digital footprint within 24 months, rendering the distinction between commercial data and intelligence assets obsolete. Privacy frameworks will collapse under the weight of data repurposing as regulatory bodies fail to define ownership boundaries for aggravated location intelligence. The pipelines consumed renders in the frameworks collapse.
That is your lot. I'm Razorcade. SpaceX lists at 1.7 trillion. Amazon borrows the debt. Microsoft blocks the model. Dario demands the tests. Germany builds the cage. Local video runs offline. Pokemon trains the drones. The capital ascends. The war ignites. The cage tightens. The drones fly. The data harvests. See you tomorrow, if tomorrow exists.